Welcome back to the She Suite Society, the podcast where we celebrate the real, the raw, and the remarkable journeys of women who chose to bet on themselves. I'm your host, Dahlia, and today's guest is someone who grew up in a funeral home and will tell you that was one of the greatest gifts she ever received. Katie Radel is a PR powerhouse, entrepreneur, and the founder of a firm that specializes in executive visibility. But before she was helping leaders get seen, she spent years climbing a corporate ladder that was never really built for her, until a midlife awakening made her put it down for good. From Cincinnati to Nashville, from corporate finance to PR to running her own firm for 7 years, Katie's path is proof that the mess, the pivots, and even the pandemic can all be part of the plan if you're willing to do the inner work to see it that way. She's also the person who will tell you straight up that you can't read the label when you're stuck inside the jar. And honestly, she's not wrong. This one is full of quotable moments, I promise you. Let's get into it. Thank you, Katie, for meeting me. I'm excited for our listeners to be able to hear your story, so they can hear, again, how no one's path is the same. We all end up in different places, similar titles sometimes, but just no path is linear. And it's nice to be able to share that with those that are coming, also those that are just a little lost right now. You just never know where people end up. So thank you for being here today, and let's get started. Let me turn everything off.
You're fine.
Okay. Katie, what would you say, how would you describe your life today?
Sure. Well, to describe my life today means I would have to go back in time and talk about what led me to today and how I'm living a much better life now. I have a unique story. I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio. Go Midwest. I now live in Nashville, Tennessee. I've lived here for a long time, but grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, and was the daughter of a funeral home owner operator. And it is actually still existing to this day. It's family owned still. And I would have been fourth generation. I was going to take over the family business and decided it wasn't my path. But the lessons I learned from that upbringing, I lived in the funeral home for a long time, worked for my dad for a while, and was exposed to the fragility of life every single day, really led me to where I am today. And I didn't know it until I was, in my late 30s. I had moved to Nashville. I had a corporate career. I call it very corporate. I was doing finance.
Like, what were you doing that was so corporate? Finance, that explains it.
Finance and healthcare. I did a long stint in a healthcare organization, and I was always in marketing and PR, and I still am. I fast forward to today, I have a PR firm, and I've had it for 7 years. But in my corporate experience, I always gravitated towards marketing and PR, and I had a event planning business at one point for a few years, and always kind of went back to corporate. And I'm so grateful for that because I learned so much. But over time, I think I realized when I grew up, we're all still growing up, right? Over time, I realized that I wasn't wired that way. I wasn't wired to be in a corporate environment. And for a long time, I thought it was corporate's fault. But now looking back, I'm like, a lot of that was me. A lot of that was me because I just wanted to achieve and climb the ladder and, on to the next. It was always on to the next. And what can I do bigger and better? And, how can I grow and achieve? And what is the next thing? And boy, is that exhausting after a while. So I was,
especially when the bar keeps moving and the carrots keep moving and you're like, you're never enough. It's never going to be enough.
Never. And frankly, that's how I'm wired. And, being in that environment in my late 30s, I like to describe, after I had my son, and life happened for me, which was wonderful. I kind of got back after maternity leave to the corporate world and I looked around and I'm like, this doesn't work for me anymore. And I lovingly refer to that as my midlife awakening, not crisis.
I
And
like that.
thank you. I think midlife crisis needs a rebrand or a refresh.
I
But
completely agree. I could not
yeah,
agree more with that statement.
yeah. Let's not use a negative word such as crisis. Let's use it as an opportunity. And for me, it was such an opportunity. And, I had to do a lot of personal work and development. I still am. It's a never ending journey, but I had to make the tough decision of like, okay, if this corporate world thing isn't working, what will work? And what does that look like?
Good questions.
And those were really good questions to ask myself. And so where I found myself almost 40 years old is I left the corporate world and I decided to start a PR firm 6 months before the pandemic. So really terrible timing.
Oh, great timing.
Right.
Awesome time. How could you have predicted that?
I mean, but in a way, I'm so grateful for it because what I needed at that time, I didn't realize it. I needed a break. I needed a reset. I needed to do some really deep work on untangling a lot of those behaviors and thoughts that I had while I was in the corporate world climbing and behaving in a way that wasn't serving me. So I had a lot of time. We all had a lot of time during COVID to think about that. And, I really had to get real with myself and get honest and ask myself questions about how do I want to feel when I wake up every day? How do I want to be as a human being? And I think luckily I had that reminder of growing up, in a funeral home and being surrounded by the fragility of life and by people on their worst day. I suddenly kind of realized and put two and two together in my late 30s that like, wow, this life really is short. And what am I going to do about it? I've always felt this sense of accountability to do better
Yeah.
for the people
I've
who can't.
never thought, I never thought of it from that viewpoint. I always thought like it had to be you that lost the person that
Mhm.
meant the world to you. And I'm not saying you didn't. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. We haven't gotten to that yet.
Right.
But the fact that you were so observant and empathetic to be able to be in that environment and already understand from that sense, that angle, what a unique perspective, just a
it,
unique perspective.
it has served me well. I have leaned on that experience and how I grew up. I mean, it's kind of lucky in that way. A lot of
You
people wouldn't
were,
say
yeah. No, I
they were
know. It's like
lucky,
hindsight. It's hindsight lucky.
but it was truly is still the biggest gift because that is the lens that I look through things now and how I live and show up and have relationships and what I say no to is even more important than what I say yes to now. And just continually learning from, okay, don't forget that you were given this gift of
Why,
remembering.
why do you think
And
you're like that?
Mhm. I'm sorry.
Why do you think you're like that? Remember you said in corporate, you weren't
hmm
wired for that,
hmm
which I have not met anybody I believe is wired for whatever the hell that is. But you are wired a different way. I can
Mhm.
tell. And
Mhm.
why do you think you're like that?
Two reasons. Number one, I think inherently I'm an entrepreneur. You either are or you aren't.
Good
I've
point.
learned along the way, right? And I looking back, it's so clear to me now. Looking back on my corporate career, I'm like, oh no, you were not meant for that. But again, I'm so grateful for it because boy, did I learn a lot about politics, and boy, did I learn a lot about
Ugh, yeah.
empathy and how to be a professional. And my job now, my PR business is, I make a living helping executives raise their profile. And so
Dang. Okay.
it's been really, really cool. And I learned a lot of that in my corporate career because I was thrown into these environments of these executives who are under resourced, understaffed. They don't know how to promote themselves. Most people don't. and they don't have time. They don't know what lane they're in, and they're multi-talented and multi-passionate. And what my job has become is, okay, let's find out what your zone of genius is and really get to the heart of like what makes you unique and empathetic, and what is your superpower, and how are we using your powers for good, and what do you want to be known for? And that has been really cool, to kind of use what I've learned along the way working with executives in my corporate career today in my PR firm. But to go back to your question about why do you think I am the way I am, I think it's, inherently in my DNA. I'm an entrepreneur. You either are or you aren't. And also going back to empathy, not everyone is empathetic, but that is my number one superpower. And I don't know if that has to do with growing up in a funeral home and being surrounded by that, but maybe it does. And
I'm not
even if
sure, but I'm glad that you are
Yeah.
that way.
Thank you. It's also being able to really tune into people and be able to read a room. And that has served me well along the way too, because I've gotten it down to a certain point in my, midlife where I can walk into a room and I can almost feel the energy, and I
Ooh,
can sense kind of what's going on. And it's a superpower that I've really learned to lean into.
it really is. So that had to be scary, I'm assuming, for you to choose to leave and then start your own thing. I know you're an entrepreneur by
Mhm,
DNA.
mhm.
Freaking love that. Um, but I would assume an ounce of fear had to be somewhere in there.
Oh, 100%. It's always scary to choose you. It's always scary to choose you because of all the, you know, uh, imposter syndrome. I hate to give that air. I hate to give it
I know.
airtime, but it's true. I struggled with that for many, many years. I'm still recovering from that. Fear of failure, fear of success, which is imposter syndrome, which seems bizarre to people who don't really understand that or haven't ever heard of that. But it's the truth. But I thought to myself, what is scarier, staying stuck in this place that doesn't work clearly, or and knowing that I tried and that I took a chance on me, and I wasn't getting any younger.
You're so funny. Did you know what you wanted to do? Did you know, like, without a shadow of a doubt,
Mhm.
you're going to do PR?
I knew that I just wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew that my skill set, over time, I was really good at PR naturally. I also had a marketing background. So at first, I was a generalist, and it was very much like, oh, I do marketing and PR. Well, the big lesson in that is that over years, I would sit across from people and tell them what I do and about my business. And I was such a generalist. And I would just say, oh, I do marketing and PR. I worked with this healthcare company and I worked here and here. And it wouldn't land. And again, that was on me to figure out like, what am I communicating incorrectly? It was a me problem, not a them. So over time, I realized I wasn't being clear enough on my own messaging,
Wow.
which is so ironic because that's what I do for a living.
Well,
And
it always works like that.
right, always, right, like always does. And I like to say it's hard to read the label when you're stuck inside the jar and you're swimming and you're just
Ooh, I've
trying to like
never heard this saying before. I really
I
like
love it.
this saying. Say it one
It
more
is
time so I can
it
get
is
it.
not mine, but I
Oh,
say it all the time and it really resonates with a lot of people. So sometimes you need someone to read the label of the jar that you're in because you can't see the label.
that's really good.
Thank you. I
Literally
know.
never heard that. I really love that.
Don't know where it came from, but as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, yes,
So
yes.
who read your label?
Hmm. Great question. I think, a really dear friend of mine, she has a branding agency. She's totally brilliant. And I'd had my business for maybe 4 years or so, and I was really stuck. And she was kind enough to, have lunch with me one day, and we kind of whiteboarded some things. And she's like, well, tell me about this client. What do you really love? And I mean, she asks a million questions, a million different ways, which is what I do with my clients. And she's like, Katie, have you ever considered, specializing in thought leadership? A lot of people know it as thought leadership, but really like executive visibility. And it was such an aha moment for me.
Yeah.
And I have her to thank for that, because it unlocked, like, oh my gosh, you're absolutely right. That is what that is. It is thought leadership. It is PR, but it's executive visibility, making executives more seen and known and visible to the right audiences. When, someone sits down to Google them or the company, because they're both so intertwined, what comes up? What does that look like? And ever since, I've run with it, and it served me well, because it is way more specific than market. I do marketing and PR. It's like,
It is. Yeah. No,
okay, cool, but what does that mean? Because I don't know what marketing is. I don't know what PR is.
yeah.
Very vague, very broad. But when I say executive visibility, we raise the profile of executives to in turn raise the profile of the organization. We do that through PR, getting people on podcasts, getting people speaking engagements, contributing articles, writing, long formed thought leadership articles. There's that aha moment and that light bulb moment.
Yeah.
That is a lot better than like, oh, that's cute, you do marketing and PR. And people, were very kind to me, but at the same time, it wasn't resonating. And again, that was on me. So once that clicked for me, it got a lot easier to have my business, to have a focus and a niche. And it's been great.
How long did it take for you to get to that point from when you first initially set out?
Gosh, I was truly a generalist for about 4 years, and I'm about to celebrate 7 years.
Yay!
So thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah, those first few years were a little rough with the pandemic, COVID. But again, I'm so grateful for that time, because I wasn't going physically into work. I wasn't working for anyone else. I was responsible for me. And boy, did I do a lot of learning and growing during that time. And I still am.
Yeah. I find that a lot of people that I've talked to, that time is something that in the middle of it, nobody loved it. But
Mm,
in hindsight, they see the gift that so much of it really did give you. Unfortunately, if you lost somebody during that time, I'm sorry. I don't mean to downplay that. I
Sure.
just know that I just watched an episode. I don't remember the show's name exactly, but it covered the pandemic so perfectly in
Mm,
terms of all the different realities that existed, like the
mm,
overwhelmed person at home. Personally, for me, I was the mom who was full-time working, also full-time teacher, also full-time being, it was drowning in too much.
yeah.
And then it went to the next person who like was drowning in complete loneliness, just
Mm,
not surrounded by anybody, nobody calling and checking on them. And it just really covered
mm,
the gamut of things. It's interesting to hear you say you started a company and then you really got to dive into yourself
mhm,
and build it during that time and do kind of inner work. I'm assuming you
mhm.
had to do a lot of inner work because we all do. If you're an entrepreneur, you do inner work. Um,
Right.
it never goes away.
It doesn't. And
It never goes away. I feel like we should just say that out loud for any, because there's a lot of entrepreneurs listening, and
mhm,
for them to know that it's okay to feel that way and to constantly
absolutely.
question yourself.
Years ago, when I first started my business, I was talking to someone, and she said, being an entrepreneur is one of the biggest spiritual journeys you'll ever go on.
Oh, yes, it is.
And I will never forget that. And
Elaborate for you what that means.
I know that to be true,
Yeah.
based on my experience. When we say spiritual, it can mean a lot of different things. And
Yeah.
for me, what spiritual means is unwavering faith in myself. And another friend, I'm pulling in all the quotes today. Another friend, entrepreneur friend, has a quote on her desk that says, being an entrepreneur is like waking up every day knowing that everything's going to be fine, but everything might fall apart. And actually, that to me relates so much to that spirituality of being an entrepreneur, because it's it's faith.
It's
It's
faith.
faith in yourself. It's faith in what I lovingly refer to as business magic. Just when you think things are falling apart, and they are, just when you think you might have to apply for jobs on Indeed or whatever, I've been there,
Yeah.
right? Um, Something, I call it business magic, happens. someone reaches out, someone DMs you on LinkedIn, something happens where there is movement, and it always kind of works out. And that again is faith. Whatever that is faith, that is spirituality. And
don't you
going
feel
back,
like there's a part of that quote that's missing though? Like to end it. Like being an entrepreneur means, yes, everything's going to be fine, but everything could also be falling apart.
Right.
But it will always work out.
Yeah. I like that.
That's what you just said. I'm just stealing your words. I'm just adding to the quote.
You're not wrong. And I think we need to amend that.
Yes.
Right? Like we need to reword that, rephrase that. But boy, is it a journey. And it's spiritual because it requires, I don't care who you are, what you believe in, it requires inner work. It requires healing.
That's very
It
right.
requires self-awareness and my goodness, unlearning, untangling, therapy with a capital T. I am a huge believer in therapy. I've gone to therapy for many, many years, and it's truly such an important relationship I have in my life. And gosh, I mean, I realized that I need a lot of support. I am off the charts extrovert. If you couldn't tell, I have all this energy, and I work from home. I work for myself, and I have a small team, but I require a lot of resources, I've learned. So we're talking, I have a mastermind. I am doing a program through EO Nashville. I do yoga. I go on walks. I have, friend circles that are amazing. It requires support, at least for me. That's been my experience. So not only is it inner work on me, but it's like I have to be smart enough to pull in those resources so I don't lose my mind.
And brave enough to ask them.
Right.
I feel like that takes a little bit of bravery to step out and just, that you need this. You don't know if they do. So to come out and ask like, hey, can we schedule all these walks, or do you go on walks?
Right.
You're great.
Oh,
Yes, yeah.
Oh yeah. Recently, now that the weather's kind of nicer, I live in the South, so it's really humid now, but, I've been doing a lot of walk and talk. So like, let's go on a hike because we gotta go on a hike and get fresh air anyway. So let's go on a hike and catch up for an hour, hour and a half during that hike. And it is so much better to me than being on Zoom. Sometimes Zoom is required or virtual meetings are required, and that works. But if you have the opportunity to meet in person and actually enjoy each other's company for an hour outside, even better. Bonus
all
points.
day long. Bonus points. I do want your take on this. It has nothing to do with any of this, but I'm very curious because you have a different insight. From my perspective, during COVID, I met a lot of people, as we all did, using Zoom and whatever platform. Teams, I think, finally stepped it up at that point. And Google Meet really came out. I didn't feel disconnected. Meeting with people in this capacity, it felt very comfortable for me, as if we were in the same room. And then when I saw them, the only thing that was different was they were either taller or shorter than I expected, which was funny because I always seemed to be the same height they expected me to be, which is, it's fine. I'm a short person.
Right. Me too.
But I didn't feel as disconnected as others did. What I hear is a lot of other people, when they connected through Zoom, they felt very disconnected and they really needed the more human interaction to stay connected. Do you have a take on that?
It's a personal preference. And for me, I like to say that I'm a live show. A lot of people are live shows.
Yeah.
So you kind of ignite when you're in person. If you're an extrovert, you get that energy off of other people. And absolutely, I did receive that from Zoom. That was all we had.
It's all we had.
So, sometimes it was just such a gift to be able to have a Zoom with even girlfriends for 30 minutes to catch up, and have that screen time instead of a phone call. But I think it's different for everyone. And also I think it depends where you were and what space you were in during that time.
That makes sense.
I think, at least for me, it has evolved a lot since we've been able to have that opportunity to be in person.
Do you prefer to this day do you have a preference to this day,
Mhm.
or no preference at all?
I prefer to be in person if I can help it. Zoom has, virtual meetings. I shouldn't say just Zoom, but I
It's
use Zoom
okay.
all the
We know
time.
there's plenty platforms.
There's plenty. It serves a purpose, and boy, does it make our lives easier to connect and have a quick meeting and catch up and, one-on-ones and all of that. But if I'm doing a strategy session with a client, I really want to be in person if
Right,
I can
right.
help it.
Are your clients local, or do you work with clients everywhere?
It depends. Both local. Most of my clients are local, but we have some national clients as well.
Nice. Do you
Yeah.
have a type of client you work with primarily, or is it a wide range of people?
I lean towards healthcare because that's my background, but it's mostly professional services. So accounting firms, law firms, founders, executives who have small to medium sized businesses who need to be seen for a strategic reason. Usually they're growing, they might want to sell, maybe they have private equity backing, all of those reasons.
Oh, lovely.
Mhm.
Perfect. Do you have any clients that you just are like, nope, can't work with you? What's your intake process like?
Sure. As far as, vetting or discovery or seeing if we're good fits,
Because you're an entrepreneur, you can choose.
which is the coolest thing ever. But here's the other side to that. When you're starting out, here's a secret.
Yeah,
Sometimes you don't really have a choice.
that's true.
You do, but you don't, right? And let's just be fair. I mean, I'm going to call it out because people don't talk about this side of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
Sometimes the need for revenue wins, and that is not great.
it's not a
Not
great
great
feeling.
to be in that position, right? So I have learned so much in these 7 years, and I can spot a red flag a mile away. It's all about, right? It's all about not working with people I don't know, like, and trust. It's all about knowing, liking, and trusting. So I can pretty much discern that right away. Again, it kind of goes to my ability to read people, my life experience, knowing what questions to ask, being curious, and just kind of feeling things out. Also, I have a business that I get a lot of referrals.
Oh,
So
lovely.
when
That's the
when
best.
a friend that I trust and know and like refers me to someone, I'm like, okay, you're not going to refer me to a jerk. But sometimes it's not a good fit business wise because they might not be ready for PR. They might not be willing to put themselves out there completely as an executive to be seen.
Yeah.
And that takes vetting as well because you can be a lovely human and know that this is important. But once we really get into the work, it's like, okay, well, we're going to write this article and we need your help with that. Or you have this interview coming up on TV. And then they completely shut down and they don't want to do it, maybe because for whatever reason. Maybe they have their own imposter syndrome. So we try to be as supportive as possible. Being in PR, you always have to be prepared. You always have to have talking points and be prepared and tell the story time and time and time again until they're confident about their own story.
That's right.
Because again, we're helping them tell it
That's right.
in ways that land, most importantly, with that audience.
I'm seeing a rise, I'm thrilled about, of
Mhm.
authenticity.
Mhm.
People really only un, connecting with people that come off as authentic.
Mhm.
And I think that's the shift I've been seeing in the last few years. I'm assuming you agree.
Yeah.
Is that how you're preparing people to talk to be as authentic as possible? Which is, I love that you said that. Most people can't remember their own
Mhm.
story. It's their story.
Right.
It's their life, but they
Right.
can't remember to say it. Is that how you prep people?
Absolutely. And, we always like to err on the side of if it's a little scary, say it because it'll resonate. Because
Yeah.
people buy from people, they relate to people, people connect with vulnerability. We all know this. Brene Brown, thank you. Um, Vulnerability and authenticity are our true connector.
Yep.
And when there is so much noise out there with AI and LinkedIn and all the different platforms and all of it, I mean, it's so much noise. It's so busy. What really, really stands out in my experience for my clients and for me personally is that authenticity piece. You can write, the same AI slop or whatever it is. We're all reading about AI slop all the time. People on LinkedIn love to make fun of it. But what differentiates a message in a person is their own story. And you can't fake that. You
You
just
can't
can't.
fake that. That's the whole point of this podcast. Get
Right.
everybody's story out.
Right.
I agree. Well, thank you. We're coming up on time, and I like to end every episode the
Mhm.
same, which you know. What is a piece of advice that you can give to our listeners today, whether it's from the heart or what you live by? I mean, you've given so many good quotes. I know I'm going to keep, but
Yeah.
what is a piece of advice you could give for us?
You are the CEO of your life. Hire, fire, and promote accordingly.
I love that.
It
I love that.
it took me a while to get there. It took me a long while to get there. Again, through self-discovery and work and healing and all the wonderful things. But I realized again, kind of in my midlife awakening, that hey, like things could have been rough or you've overcome adversity or whatever, but also at the end of the day, you are in charge of you. And I think once I started stepping up and taking accountability for my happiness and my life and not wasting it and not looking back and saying, I wish I would have, um, life got a lot better.
Exactly. Time is the only thing you can't actually get back. Everything else you can get back. You can't get back the time.
Right.
And you can't get back the time with people. So I appreciate that you said that.
Thank you.
What a great lesson to live by. I hope people abide by it because it is truly the rule of your life.
Thank you.
I love that. Well, thank you for spending time with us today and telling your
Yeah.
story. We appreciate it.
Katie, thank you. I could have talked to you for hours, and I think our listeners are going to feel the same way. If today resonated with you and you want to raise your visibility, tell your story better, or finally get seen for the work you're doing, Katie's your person. Her contact information is in the show notes. Reach out, you won't regret it. And here's what I want you to carry out of this episode: you are the CEO of your life. Hire, fire, and promote accordingly. That means taking full accountability for your happiness, your choices, and how you spend your time, because time is the only thing you simply cannot get back. If this episode moved you, share it. Send it to a woman who is still waiting for permission to be herself. Leave us a review. Tell a friend. This community is built one share at a time, and I'm so grateful for every one of you that's here. Remember, your life is your story to tell. Why not make it extraordinary? Until next time, I'm Dahlia. Thanks for being here.